Ladies and gentlemen, some stories are not meant to be read, they are meant to be felt. Some journeys are not just remembered, they are lived in every heartbeat. And when you hear them, they do something to you. They shake your soul, they ignite your spirit, and yes, they give you goosebumps. This is the story of a boy who came from nothing. No riches, no privilege, no shortcuts, just a dream in his mind and a fire in his heart. A boy who turned every tear into strength, every setback into fuel, every doubt into motivation. IT will give you goosebumps. Some stories touch your mind, but some go deeper. They touch your soul. This one is not about luxury, not about privilege, not about being born into greatness. It is about rising from the dust, from a place where the odds were stacked against you, and turning nothing into everything. It is about a boy who started with a dream so fragile that many would have laughed at it, yet he carried it like a treasure in his heart. And when you hear this story, it will give you goosebumps. This boy was not born with golden opportunities. His home was small, his family had little, and his surroundings offered no guarantees of success. Many would have accepted that life, believing that dreams of greatness were reserved for others, but not him. Even as a child, he felt something burning inside, a determination that whispered, "You are meant for more." While others played for fun, he played with purpose. While others gave up when tired, he pushed himself further. He wasn't chasing attention, he was chasing a destiny, but dreams are never handed out easily. He faced struggles that could have broken anyone. At times, he cried because he felt weak, because the weight of expectations and the sting of failures seemed unbearable. People doubted him. Coaches questioned if he was strong enough. Friends told him to be realistic. And yet, every single time he fell, he got up stronger. Every tear became fuel, every criticism became energy, and every setback became a step forward. The truth is, greatness is not built in comfort, it is built in sacrifice. This boy left behind his family at an age when most children still needed their parents' embrace. He endured loneliness, hunger, and moments of deep pain. Imagine being far away from home, sleeping in small rooms, missing your loved ones, and still having to wake up every morning and give everything you had to a dream that nobody else could see. That takes courage. That takes heart. That takes the kind of fire that only a few souls in this world carry. And slowly, step by step, the world began to notice. The boy with nothing became the teenager with potential. The teenager with potential became the young man with unstoppable drive. And that young man began to rise, not just because of talent. No, talent alone was never enough, but because of discipline, because of sacrifice, because of a mindset that refused to accept defeat. He trained harder than anyone else. He worked when others rested. He believed when others doubted. And brick by brick, he built himself into one of the greatest athletes the world has ever seen. But here's what truly gives you goosebumps. He never forgot where he came from. He never allowed the glamour, the lights, and the fame to erase the memory of that boy who started with nothing but a dream. Every time he steps on the field, every time he breaks a record, every time he inspires millions, he carries that story with him. The story of humble beginnings turned into greatness. And what does this mean for us? It means that your background does not define your future. It means that the size of your house does not determine the size of your dream. It means that even if the world doubts you, even if the road is painful, even if everything seems impossible, you can still rise. If a boy from nothing could stand on the biggest stages of the world, then what is stopping you? Remember this, greatness is not reserved for the chosen few. It is built by those who dare to dream, who dare to suffer, who dare to give everything. And when you live that way, when you rise from humble beginnings and reach for the stars, your story will not just be remembered. It will give the world goosebumps. Discipline. It is the difference between a dream that fades away and a dream that becomes reality. Many people talk about talent, they talk about luck, they talk about opportunities, but talent without discipline is wasted, luck without preparation is useless, and opportunities mean nothing if you are not ready to seize them. Greatness is built on discipline, and when you hear the story of a man who turned his body, mind, and soul into a machine of excellence, it will give you goosebumps. This man was not content with just being good. He was obsessed with being the best. While others were satisfied with 1 hour of training, he trained for 3. When his teammates packed their bags and went home, he stayed behind, perfecting every detail, repeating every movement, pushing his limits until his muscles burned. He did not treat training as a duty, he treated it as a lifestyle. Discipline was not something he did occasionally, it was who he was every single day. There were no excuses for him. Rain, shine, fatigue, or pain. Nothing stopped him from giving his all. He controlled what he ate, how he slept, how he recovered, and how he trained. While others chased comfort, he chased improvement. While others said, "It's enough," he said, "It's not enough." His hunger to improve was endless. And that is the secret of discipline. It never allows you to settle. But let us be clear, discipline is not glamorous. It is not easy. It is waking up early when your body begs you to stay in bed. It is saying no to parties when your friends beg you to come along. It is eating healthy when junk food calls your name. It is repeating the same drill 1,000 times until perfection is carved into your muscles. It is painful, it is exhausting, and at times it feels lonely. But discipline builds champions, and comfort builds mediocrity. The world often sees the glory, the shining lights, the applause, the trophies, but what they don't see are the countless hours behind the scenes. They don't see the sweat dripping on empty fields at midnight. They don't see the extra runs, the extra lifts, the extra shots when no cameras are watching. They don't see the sacrifices, the skipped meals with family, the missed celebrations, the lonely nights away from home. They see the success, but not the discipline that created it, and that is why his story inspires millions, because it proves a universal truth. Success is not magic, it is math. What you put in is what you get out. If you put in excuses, you get regrets. If you put in discipline, you get results. And this man chose discipline every single time. His body became stronger, his skills became sharper, and his mind became unshakable. Over the years, his unmatched discipline transformed him from an ordinary boy into a legend of the game. Now pause for a moment and think what about your own life. You may not be chasing trophies, but you are chasing something. Maybe it's your career, your education, your dreams, or even your health. The same rule applies. Without discipline, you cannot win. Talent might get you started, but only discipline keeps you going when motivation fades. Passion gives you energy, but discipline gives you consistency. And consistency is what turns goals into achievements. So ask yourself, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to sacrifice comfort today for greatness tomorrow? Are you willing to work in silence, knowing that one day the world will hear the noise of your success? Because if he could, so can you. If he could transform his body, his mind, and his destiny with sheer discipline, then nothing stops you from doing the same. Remember this: discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. It is the quiet power that separates legends from the forgotten. And when you live a life of unmatched discipline, Your story will not only inspire others, it will give them goosebumps. Criticism, setbacks, failure, these are words that most people fear, words that make many give up on their dreams. But for some, they are not the end of the road, they are fuel. And when you hear the story of a man who turned every insult into motivation and every setback into strength, it will give you goosebumps. From the very beginning, he was doubted. People said he was too emotional, too weak, too skinny. Some told him he would never make it. Journalists wrote headlines questioning his talent. Rivals mocked him, critics booed him, and even his own mistakes were magnified under the spotlight. For many, this would have been enough to crush their spirit. For him, it became the reason to rise even higher. Criticism did not weaken him, it sharpened him. Every time they told him he wasn't good enough, he trained harder. Every time they laughed at his failures, he worked in silence. Every time they doubted him, he reminded himself that his destiny was bigger than their opinions. He did not fight back with words, he fought back with results. That is the true strength of a champion, not proving people wrong with arguments, but proving them wrong with actions. Setbacks became his teachers. Injuries tried to stop him, but he returned stronger. Losses tried to break him, but he turned them into lessons. Even when entire stadiums whistled against him, he stood tall, knowing that greatness is never loved at first. It is resisted, challenged, and questioned. But eventually, the same voices that doubted him became the voices that celebrated him. And isn't that the truth about life? People will always have opinions. Some will cheer for you, but many will criticize you. Some will believe in you, but many will doubt you. If you let their words define you, you will never rise. But if you take their negativity and turn it into energy, you become unstoppable. This man understood that better than anyone. Every insult was a spark. Every rejection was a fire. Every failure was a stepping stone. What gives this story power is not just his victories, it's the way he handled defeats. Because life is not about how many times you win, but how many times you get back up when you lose. He showed the world that resilience is more important than perfection. He proved that falling is not failure, staying down is. And each time he rose, stronger than before, the world watched in awe. Think about your own life. How many times have you been criticized? How many times have you been told you're not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough? How many times have you faced rejection that made you want to quit? If you are breathing, you have felt it. And here is the lesson. Criticism does not define you. Setbacks do not end you. They are simply tests, designed to measure how badly you want your dream. This man's story reminds us that criticism is a gift, because it pushes you to grow. Setbacks are blessings because they build your strength. Without them, there is no resilience. Without them, there is no greatness. And when you choose to rise above the noise, when you decide to keep moving forward no matter what is said or done against you, you will not only win, you will inspire millions along the way. So the next time someone doubts you, thank them. The next time life pushes you down, get back up with more fire. The next time you fail, remember, it is not the end, it is just the beginning of your comeback. Because greatness is not about living without criticism or setbacks. It is about using them to build a legacy. And when you rise above doubt, when you conquer failure with courage, when you turn criticism into your fuel, your story, too, will give the world goosebumps. Greatness is not proven in a single victory. It is not defined by one shining moment or one perfect performance. True greatness is measured by consistency, the ability to rise again and again at the highest level year after year. And when you hear the story of a man who sustained excellence across decades, never allowing time, critics, or obstacles to dim his fire. It will give you goosebumps. Many athletes shine for a season. Some make headlines for a few years, but very few maintain brilliance across an entire career. Why? Because consistency is harder than success. Success can come once, by talent or by chance. But consistency demands discipline, patience, and an endless hunger to keep improving when others have already settled. This man never settled. Every year, every match, every season, he showed up with the same passion, the same drive, the same relentless desire to prove himself, not to others, but to himself. Think about it. He began his career as a young boy, full of energy, and many thought his brilliance would fade with age. But instead of fading, he grew sharper. Instead of slowing down, he adapted. He reinvented his game, refined his skills, and trained his body with the precision of a machine. What most considered impossible, staying at the top for so long, he made possible through unwavering commitment. Consistency is not about avoiding failure. He had setbacks, he had defeats, he had moments where people said, "It's over." But every time he came back stronger. He understood a truth that separates champions from the rest. Success is temporary, but consistency builds immortality. Anyone can rise once, few can stay on top. He chose to stay. He chose to fight for longevity, to prove that excellence is not a moment. It is a lifestyle, and the numbers, the records, the trophies, those are only symbols. The real story lies in the effort behind them. Imagine the pressure of being watched by millions every time you perform. Imagine the expectation to deliver every single time, no matter the circumstances. Imagine the weight of carrying that responsibility for 20 years. Most would crumble under it, but he thrived, not once, not twice, but over and over again. He showed the world that consistency is the true face of greatness. What makes this even more powerful is the way he embraced time itself. Age is often seen as an enemy, but he refused to let it dictate his destiny. While others slowed down, he trained harder. While others talked about retirement, he talked about evolution. He did not fear aging, he conquered it. That is the essence of consistency, adapting, surviving, and thriving, no matter what stage of life you are in. Now pause and reflect. In your own life, how consistent are you? Do you show up only when you feel motivated, or do you show up even when you're tired, even when nobody is watching, even when the results don't come right away? Because that is the real test. Anyone can work hard once. Anyone can shine for a short time, but the ones who achieve lasting success are those who stay committed long after the excitement fades. This man's journey is not just about sports. It is a blueprint for life. Consistency in relationships, in education, in work, in health. This is what builds legacies. If you want to achieve greatness, do not chase one big moment. Chase small, consistent actions every day, because in the end, consistency beats talent, beats luck, and beats everything else. And so, his story reminds us, do not aim to shine one, aim to shine always. Do not aim for one victory, aim for a lifetime of victories. Do not aim to be remembered for a season, aim to be remembered forever. Because when you master the art of consistency at the highest level, your story will not just inspire, it will give the world goosebumps. There are stories that belong to one person, and there are stories that belong to the world. Some journeys are so powerful, so extraordinary, that they cross borders, languages, and cultures. They inspire children and adults, fans and rivals, rich and poor alike. This is the story of a man whose life became more than just about sport. It became a source of hope, belief, and courage for millions. And when you realize the scale of his influence, it will give you goosebumps. From the very beginning, His story was one of struggle. A boy who grew up with little, who faced doubt, criticism, and endless obstacles, yet still rose to greatness. People connected with him not because he was perfect, but because he was real. They saw in him a reflection of their own battles, the feeling of being underestimated, the pain of sacrifice, the hunger to prove themselves, and when he triumphed, it felt as if they triumphed too. Every goal he scored, every record he broke, every trophy he lifted, it was more than a personal achievement. It was a message to the world: dreams are possible, hard work pays off, no matter where you come from, you can rise. For a child kicking a ball on the streets, for a teenager struggling to believe in themselves, for an adult facing failures and setbacks, his journey became living proof that greatness is not reserved for the privileged few. It is earned by those who never give up. What makes his story even more inspiring is the way he carried himself under the weight of the world's eyes. Fame can destroy people. Pressure can break them. But instead of letting it crush him, he used it as fuel. He showed that success is not only about winning, it's about handling responsibility, about leading with confidence, and about showing others what is possible when you dedicate yourself completely to your craft. Millions look up to him, not just for his talent, but for his mindset, because he taught the world that greatness is not a gift, it is a choice. He reminded us that being the best does not come from luck, but from waking up every day and choosing discipline, choosing sacrifice, choosing to believe even when nobody else does. That message echoes across stadiums, classrooms, workplaces, and homes all around the globe. Think about the young boy who watches him play and suddenly believes he too can escape poverty. Think about the young girl who sees his discipline and realizes she can succeed in her own field. Think about the struggling worker, the student, the dreamer, anyone who feels life is against them. His story whispers to them, keep going, do not stop, your time will come. That is the true power of inspiration. It multiplies. One man's story becomes millions of people's courage, and this is where his legacy becomes untouchable. Trophies can be broken, records can be surpassed, but inspiration lasts forever. Long after the cheers fade and the stadium lights go dark, people will still remember the boy who came from nothing and gave everything. They will remember his relentless spirit, his hunger, his resilience, and his message that dreams have no limits. So ask yourself, what will your story inspire? Will people look at your life and see excuses, or will they see resilience? Will they remember your struggles, or will they remember how you rose above them? Because inspiration is not limited to legends. It is something each of us can create. By living with passion, by working with discipline, and by refusing to quit, your life too can become a beacon for others. And that is the greatest gift you can give the world, not just your success, but your story. A story that tells others, if I can do it, so can you. And when people hear it, when they feel it, when they see you rise against all odds, it will give them goosebumps.